Welcome to Ongoing Adventures. This is our new series of DIY projects. Stick around, stay tuned. Let's see what I'm doing on this one. I'll catch you there on Ongoing Adventures.
Don't know how well you're going to be able to see this in a lot of ways. Hopefully you guys can see. So now I do have both Spotties put onto the patrol. They're mounted the Titan. I think they're fairly adjusted roughly where they need to be. I won't know until I actually drive out and test them. I've got the cords dangling, ready to go. Now I'm up to the part of where I actually make a new harness for these Spotties, because I've just pulled out the old harness that was in the car. It was a bit of a schmozzle to actually get it out. It just came down, wasn't like, it was in correctly. It's a factory harness for the Spotties that were already in there. It just wasn't neatly ran per se. But that's just me being picky. And now I'm running something that's a bit more high powered, more affordable for heavy duty cable. We're going to get along and create a new harness for our Spotties, which I will show how I'm going to do it. It's up to you guys if you guys wish to try and do this yourselves. I wouldn't recommend doing it 100% if you've never done anything like this before. And there's always bits and pieces you can learn, but there is skills that you can do it out there. It's not overly difficult. Just do a bit of research. And I'll try and show some tips today on what I've done. So a standard harness when it comes to like the basic like relays, because that's where most people get confused. So what I've done, I've actually drawn up a quick little single relay that you would use for a standard harness they generally have, which is this. So all you would normally have is this is your relay. This is your pin sort of set out, which is that there. So if I was to lay that on there right now, it'd go like that. That's your base of your relay there. So 85, which is actually that's the bit that comes from your high beam. So you actually hook a wire from your high beam itself, run it to pin 85. Then you'd have from your battery, you'd have a fuse, and then there's the pin 30. Then 86 is the way it goes from here to your switch. Now from your switch, which I haven't written on here, you would actually run it to an accessory, or you can run it to your high beam wire as well. The car that I was thinking was originally to the high beam, but most people run to the accessory. And then your cable from your light, and you'd run off to your actual earth cable there. And my housemate's rolling in, so I'll pause it here real quick while she just gets the car shut down. Now we'll continue. So yep, basic relay. So you want to go from 87 to your lights and then earth it out somewhere. And then from 85 is your high beam wire, which basically activates the relay. So when you turn your high beams on, it sends a signal to your relay. It goes, yep, I'm happy. I've got power from the high beam. I accept it. And when you go from your accessory to your switch, and you flick your switch on, run it to a relay, it goes, okay, I've just got authorization to click over because it's a little magnet. And obviously you have power supply. And when this is happy and that's happy, when you flick your switch over, it turns a magnet on and it basically sends power down to your lights. So that's a basic relay spotlight wiring diagram for like everyone that generally uses for just as a single loom. The only problem with this, if you got like high powered lights that these are, you can run the risk of your wiring heating up, burning out, or your fuse burning out, heating up, and causing fire. Shouldn't happen, but it has happened, and I try and avoid it. So that's your basic version there. And then this is what mine is. It looks a bit complicated, but it's basically the exact same as that, just doubled up. So what I'll do, I'll actually draw this up a bit neater, and I'll stick a post up here somewhere for you guys if you want to try and copy it down. It's basically 2 relays, 2 fuses. So you basically go from the battery in the center here, fuse to this relay, fuse to that relay, and then where am I up to? So you got 86 here, which should be the switch, which I haven't, which is over here. So you switch. So you got, say, from, once again, your income from over your accessory to your high beam. So you have your switch come across, we loop over, plug into this one, and then we're just running like a loop wire. So it should just loop over, and then you plug it into this one. So that one switch will activate both the signals on the relays. And then your high beam wire, similar thing. So you run it from your high beam into 85, and then just create a loop wire to your second relay. So you come across and just loop it into your second relay. And that, once again, that same signal from your high beam will tell both relays to activate again as well, because they're not actually drawing the main amount of power. That's where it's coming from. Your fuse from your battery to the relay, and then obviously each light will have its own dedicated fuse and relay to its light. One, it's cutting out half the amount of power drawn needed to run these lights, because you're not running two lights in the one relay and fuse, one harness. Where I basically made it two harnesses working together. So each lot will have its own relay and fuse, which makes it a lot safer, decreases the amount of load on it. And also too, for some random reason, if you do blow a fuse or your relay's jammed and get stuck and you rip it out, say like your light 2, if it's your passenger or your driver, that one might be out, but you'll still have one spotlight still working. So that's the advantage. If you do blow one, you'll still have one spotlight working. Or you have really bad luck and you blow both of them. So to me, it's a lot safer. You're decreasing the pressure on the wiring and the harness and the heat and transfers. You're depressurizing what's got the current load going to your light, and it's going to be a lot safer. And if you have problems or faults, it's a lot easier to work out which one's playing up by pulling the fuse or the relay to work out where your power drain could be in bits and pieces. So once again, when you get to your light, just run that earth lead off somewhere. Usually most people bring it back to where the relays are and just run it to the body or something like that. So this is once again a basic relay constant setup, just a dual version to make it a lot safer for all these things. Because when you're running high powered lights, you really want a single fuse and a single relay, in my own personal opinion, and from guys I know in the past. So once again, I've learned all this from past work and when I used to do some small stuff, and I learned from a lot of other guys too. So all of my cars that I've done have had this similar thing done to it. Even when I ran, say, light bars and everything on the roof as well, everything usually has its own relay, its own fuse. Unless you have, like I've got on the side of the patrol, a couple of little side lights which don't really draw too much, then it's fine to run those couple of lights on the same relay and CV, because they're not really drawing that much. But once you get to the high powered stuff, that's when you want to start looking at decreasing the load that you're running through these fuses and through these relays. And if something does go wrong, you've still got one still working, not just both of them out. So I will draw this up a bit neater, hopefully, and I'll have it above me. So if you guys want to jot it down, you guys can. You can have a crack at it yourselves, but it's on your own discretion if you do. This is something I've done. So I've got some bits and bobs on my table here ready to go. I've got fuse holders here, so I've got my 2 fuse holders ready to go here, which this end will go to the battery, and that end will probably go to the relay. Again, you generally want your fuse closest to the battery, as much priming better. Then I'll have my relay holder, my relay base here ready to go, which I'll wire it in, and then I'll have to get the relay I'll plug into there. So as I just realized too, I actually don't have a second relay, so I'll have to run into Repco Nambucca again, and I might even buy a whole new relay so they're both matching and they're both the same age. Get some 2 new relays, plug her in, and we'll go from there. So from there, then I'll be wiring in the bit from the high beam, the bit from the switch, which is actually already in the car, so I better reuse the old one, which I've saved. Saves me pulling that stuff out. And then I've just got to rewire the bit that goes to the light, and then the bit that goes to the power, which is this. So I'm going to get cracking on it now. I might speed it up a little bit, see how we go, and then I'll shove it in the car, run all the leads through, and then make all the connections, because I still got to wire up the bit that actually goes to the light itself from the tails that will come off from the relays. So let's see how I go. It's, I think, 11:30, almost 12 o'clock at night. This job's taken a lot longer than I wanted to. I was only meant to fit the Spotties and just use the old harness temporarily, but when I looked at it, no, I'm just going to do the whole thing straight away. I'm going to get cracking. I'm just getting cold. I'm going to eat on my mungie chips at the same time, because I can. Yep. So what I'm going to do now too, I will eventually go grab my label maker and put labels on these saying spotlight, driver side, spotlight, passenger side. But what I can also do on top of the actual fuse holder, it's just write spot D and then spot P, so I know it's like spotlight driver, spotlight passenger. Just like that. Spot D for driver side. And spot P for spot passenger side. Now I just got to make sure I wire them in the right way for the sides they're meant to be on. So that's pretty good. So I've just added my little clamp on there. Clean this edge up. My soldering iron ready. And I've actually got my own brass pins. And the correct tool. So there are actually different styles because they got different teething in here. So people have like the ones that you'll generally see at the shops to do these. They will work, but they actually aren't the correct crimping tool. If you haven't got them, it's not a major worry. Just try and crimp down as much as you can. And then obviously we always try and solder what we can, because the solder is what actually gives it its true connection and true holding. Just like that. So I'll also solder that on there too. There you go. These do slide in together, so they can actually lock in like that. That's why I thought I'd just do this one real quick first. So the idea is what I can now do. That's what I should have done. Is actually just line them up, get them about here, and I sort of know, well, okay, I can loop it to about there. So I need to trim this one down first and get rid of the excess. So I virtually now have my fuse holder and relay block started, ready to go. So the fuses aren't in here yet, and I'll better make sure of that. So I'm going to take any fuse that's in there out. So once again, even if I hook it up, it's safe for me to still work on because there's no light power going anywhere, even if I don't have the relay on there. So that's just a little bit extra safety for me. Right, so now what I can do is I've got the bit that goes from the battery to the fuse to the relay block ready to go, and now what I can do is work from the light. Actually have the wire that goes to the light ready now, because I've already got the wire in here for the switch that's already in there ready to go, and the wire that'll be the signal for the high beam from the previous. I just took it out of the old harness and just left them in there. Saves me after rewiring that little bit. Save me a bit of time. Now, I didn't realise they actually don't have much wiring left, so I have to unwind the whole thing. And just sort of make do with what I got. It should be, looking at it, heaps there, enough, but I'll have to go out and go order some more wire. So you just trim the tails off just a little bit down the guts of her, and just cut your little flares off because you don't need them. Don't go too crazy because you don't want too much exposure. Just leave about, say, 35 mil-ish, and then clamp her up. Now remember with these, because we're doing a dual relay harness kit, we only pin the red one, because that will go to the relay block, and then your earth one will earth it on the body somewhere next to the relay or behind the relay, because when we bolt the relay block to the body, we can use that as the screw from that as a relay holder, as the earth holder, sorry. So we'll need another pin on that, but we can actually join the two earths together as one and then plug it in, because that's perfectly fine. So because I know I've got pretty much heaps of length here, I'm just going to cut the other end like this and just have them on this end. I'll cut it down the middle when I work out the lengths. I'm going to make sure this is still working actually. Yeah. Hopefully you guys can hear me pretty well, because I've been using this microphone a fair bit now, and hopefully it's working a lot better when we first started when it comes to audio. So we're looking pretty good. So we have our two ends that will go into our two relay blocks. And again, I always reference to my drawing that I always make up. Like, I know it in my head pretty well, but it's always going to have like a visual look on it. So I know it's going to be the opposite end of where my power supply is coming in. So my power supply is coming from the front, which is pin 30, and now I want to plug into the pin 28 at the back. Once again, it doesn't matter which one I'm plugging into yet, because we haven't chosen which one's going to be for what side of the light yet. That's one. That's two. Now I was going to grab a quick pin over here. So I actually have a container of goodies, and what I'm looking for is just another eye ring. That's for just purely for the earthing. I usually grab one that's a bit bigger to what I may need, just to make sure whatever I bolted onto, it should fit through the like a 6mm bolt generally. So this has got a heap of goodies of eye rings and all that in it, and this is going to be for our earth clamp, which will be these two bad boys here. So again, all I need to do now is just twist these two together. Like so. Put that on correctly. Make sure the heads are poking through. Grab my crimps. So the guys, now when I bolt this to the body, I should better bolt that behind there, which will help earth it out. And it all looks nice and tidy and neat too. So it's a bit like that, get rid of that messy sort of look. So now all I've got left now is to, when I get back into the actual engine bay, is to put in the one in for the switch and then one in for the high beam. So as I said, I've now got a loop. So before I actually even get over there, I'm going to grab some spare wire I've got over here and make two little loop wires ready to go. Grab this like this. Right here. So these ones don't have to be nowhere near as fixed, they're just basically acting like signal wires. So I do like to use different colours just so I know which one's which and what they're doing. Oh, the wires are a bit thin, so I'll just use my clamps. So this one's all basically all about prep. Again, pin, clamp it on. So I'm just going to quickly speed up this process and we'll continue from there. Okay, so yep, I've just put my clips on, my brass clips, soldered them up, and now I'm just getting ready for the loop. So what the goal is now, when I go back into the engine bay and I go for the switch wire and the high beam wire, I'll wire them up onto these ones. So I'll actually cut the other ends, put new brass pins on them, and then join this to that one and be able to clip that up into there, and then have this one to the other one as well, and then clip that up to there as well. So that way they're actually signaling, looping to the next relay, and want to be a master relay just for those two little signal wires, but the main power is going to each relay and each fuse on its own. So now I'm going to drag it over here, and we'll get ready at cutting the other ends off, joining them up, and then getting ready to put the fuse section in and our relay block in, and then start running our actual main light wiring towards the front of the car. Work out rough lengths, and they'll be able to cut the ends off and then touch my plugs on, and it'll pretty much getting close to being done then. Let's get readjusted and get cracking. Okay, so now we're in hitting the actual engine bay. It is going to be a bit hard for you guys to see. It is quite messy in here, so at some stage when I have a free weekend, my plan is actually to pull all of these wiring looms out, that's accessories and otherwise, rework out what they do, label them all, rerun it all, tidy it up, and possibly rewire some of it. Like this wires and no cover, bits and pieces. That's just me being picky. I like stuff being nice and neat, and nicely ran and tied up, and easy access. So I've got my loom here. Also, that bit's going to go to the battery. And then now I've got to have, where is it? So that's my switch signal wire there. And then I've got my high beam signal wire here, which I'm now basically getting ready to start to run. So I want to work out where I want to put these relays. It's kind of hard because I said it is quite messy. It's hard to work stuff out. The old one was all the way down the bottom here somewhere. I wouldn't mind having it up a little bit just so I can semi-see it, but it also depends on how far I can get with the battery wires. So I'm actually going to probably hook this on now just so I know work out lengths that I can work with. Right, yeah, so I've got my fuse hooked in, but I've got no fuse in, so I still actually haven't got any live power down here, so it's still safe for me to work on. Even though there's still no relays, but there's actually no power running through because the fuses aren't in. So now I can start looking at how I want to run it, make it look neat. It's as much as I can anyway, until I start pulling the rest of it out one day in the future. But we'll get to that as another project day. So, yep, we're just going to run it across here and more than likely have it. More than likely, actually, I don't know. We'll have it. Yep, so I think I'm going to have to run it here for now until I reorganize all the other wiring so I can try and adjust it down here a bit more. I think until I pull all this other stuff out and reorganize it all, I think I'm going to sit it here for now, tie it up, and we'll go from there later on. This will be a work in progress to fix everything up as the time comes. But we'll get cracking for now and get this in and then hopefully have something working and then run down the Repco tomorrow morning and get the other relays, or 2 new relays, and then have it all officially properly working and testing her out. So what I'm going to do now is just identify it once again. This is my switch signal wire, and I'm going to get back onto my book, which I have right here. My book right here. So if I'm looking at the relays, which is sitting there exactly as it is, my switch wire is on said left side of my relay block. So I'm going to try and patch that in. Now, my loop ones are on this one here already, so my main ones are going to be on this one here. And my driver side is also that relay block. So once I get a label maker going, I'll put a label across here saying driver side spotlight. So I'm going to have to cut that off. Like that. Twist it up. And then choose, make sure I get the same one. In this case, it happens to be the green one. Have a nice loop. So I usually go for that 50mm to 75mm loop in it, which is going to be about there. There's no point making it too tight and no point making it too loose. So you have a bit of just a small, easy, nice bit of slack. And once again, I just get the end off this little tag as well. And then join those 2 wires together. Yeah, I've done so. I did have some brass pins, my crimps. And then also I want to plug this in the correct side, which is going to be on my left side. Feed the wire through. And then click it in. So on a normal day, I would solder that one too, but it's late. It's like 12:30. I just want to get a sucker in now. I'll come back when I redo the wiring, probably check all these again anyway and solder it then, hopefully, if I remember. But it's a good crimp. For now, we're just going to crimp it, stick her in, and continue on. So now what we've got is our high beam signal wire, which is this one here. And we're going to run this one back across to where it was. I don't understand why he's done that. Person who wired all this stuff up. But anyway, we're going to run this under here. Again, we're going to cut the end off and then join our other wire up to as well, which will be the yellow one now. Make sure you definitely grip it on tight because we're not soldering at the moment. So I'll come back and do that later date. And then obviously plug that into the last one. Wait for the click. Yep, we're now in. That can sit there for now. Push these wires down here. Temporary solution. Now, we've basically got fuse lined up, power supply, go on the relay block. Relay block's got this switch signal and high beam signal with both its loops. We have our wire ready to come out for our lights now. This is where I'm going to run the light wire cable down to here, get its rough measurement, trim them, and then put our other end in for where it actually connects into the light. We'll twist and solder, join those together as well, put some heat shrink over, make them look pretty. And once we get that, we'll run it all the way down here, plug them in the back of the light. Then I'll come back through, get some conduit I have here, and conduit all these together, tie them up, zip tie them to the side, and then happy days. So that's pretty much it, guys, in a way, when it comes to this last little bit. I'm about to run out of battery on the GoPro. It's flashing at me, making some funny sounds. But I'll get this last little bit in right now. I'll tie it all up. I'll tidy all this in. And then tomorrow morning, I'll race down to Nambucca Repco, go see all the guys down there, and grab a set of relays ready to go, plug her in, test her out, and then hopefully that night, Saturday night, we'll go out and shoot a couple of these lights up and see how well they work. I reckon they'll be fantastic from the reviews I've seen. Other people have them. And then we'll go from there. So stay tuned. My camera is about to die. I'll get this last little bit in. I'll see you guys tomorrow morning when I go get the relay at Nambucca, and we'll do the last final test then. Stay tuned. Let's get cracking. So it is, let me quickly check, 1:50 at night. And because I've only got one relay until I go to Repco tomorrow morning, I've got one Spotty working. She's looking good. Oh, I've just spent the last basically 15 minutes trying to work out why this shit's not working. So where I did my little wire connection that actually goes to the light switch, remember I said she'd always solder it. I didn't do it this time because I was being lazy. Well, because I basically crimped it and didn't solder it, it didn't give a proper connection and the wire just came off at the end. And it wasn't connected this whole time, so I just wasted 15 minutes thinking it's a fuse, a relay is probably blown, or whatever. As soon as I looked at it, I went, oh shit. Connected it back up, and we got lights again. Oh, I am so buggered. It's virtually almost 2 o'clock in the morning. Saturday morning now. I am going to roll the car the rest of the way. You can close the shed up. And restart tomorrow by going down the Repco, grab 2 new relays, and presto, we should be done. I'm buggered. See y'all tomorrow. Right, so just went down to Nambucca Repco real quick to grab some relays for the 2 relay holsters. I just brought 2 brand new ones rather than trying to use the old one. I'll keep it as a spare backup just in case. But it's always good to swap out, having the same brands, and sort of restart at the same time, I guess. So I know these 2 are fully brand new and should be lasting a very long time, hopefully. Same with fuses. I've got some new pack of fuses because I ran out. So, yep, just grab a normal 4-pin relay. I should be able to just plug it straight in. 1 potato. Grab the second one. Ooh, if I can get it out. There we go.
Over here. Slap the second one in. And just like that. So now the relay's in. I can now go through and actually mount that to the body here. And now I can go through as well and add fuses into the fuse holders the correct size that I need, if I can get these old ones out that I was using as the test dummy ones. One. Holy moly. That one's definitely in there. Hold up. Need some assistance. That one's now out. So I just got a little packet of fuses of the same type. I usually have like a whole stack of fuses, but I've seen to either misplace the whole packet or I've used them all and not replenished. So later on, I'll go back down and actually buy a whole new kit of fuses and leave them as this car kit. So I slap them in, put the caps over. Yep, now it's nice and sealed. And we're sitting here and I'll be able to tie that up as well. And like I've done earlier, just right on the Spott D, Spott P for Spott driver side, Spott passenger side. Relays are in, the wires all in. Now we should have both of them now working perfectly fine. Let's get cracking on that. Let's give it a quick test and let's see how she works. Hopefully you guys can hear me right because it's absolutely blowing, absolute gale here. I've got shit going everywhere. Let's pop the bonnet down real quick and turn the Spotties on and let's see how she looks. There we have it, guys. 2 new Spotties on the patrol. How sick. These are the Stedi brand. I will chuck down the link of this particular Spotties that I got from Repco themselves down below comments or in the description. I'll also add the actual Stedi link as well into that as well. Depends if you want to go through Repco or Stedi to get these, but I'll give you all the details of which ones I got. These ones are super easy, they fit in well, they look nice and tight and still got plenty of airspace for the air to flow through the radiator, so I'm not blocking too much airflow out of the way. Other than the fact that the old wiring harness wasn't the greatest, so I swapped that, built that whole up. It was a late night last night, I was absolutely buggered. I could feel the life drain out of me as I got tighter and tighter. But again, you don't have to build your own harness. That's something that I like to do because I like to do it my own way by running the dual sort of harness, the one each Spotty, where you can buy a harness. Here's that wind's getting worse around here. You can actually buy the harness for these, so you can just slap it in there, plug it all in and ready to go. Or you can use the old harness if you're swapping out an old pair of Spotties. So there is multiple options you guys can have. Man, it's getting windy here. For these Spotties, I'm going to go for a drive later tonight, test her out, see how bright they are, how sexy they look, and then make sure my tilt on both of them should be pretty well good. So again, I've got the passenger side as the floods and the driver's side as the Spott, so you can shoot down the direct more and then the flood to open up whatever. And yep, I've also stuck with the grey rather than going with the orange casing around the side of the Spotty, purely to be different, because I've noticed a lot of people who get the Stedis usually put the orange surroundings on there. So that's all right. I'm just trying to be a bit different. And then obviously you have the covers too, if you want to try and cover them up to protect them, which I will be keeping in the car as part of my kit. So if I know I'm doing a day or a week or a touring or forward driving and I'm going through some muck, mud or whatever, I'll probably slap them on to protect them and then take them off afterwards so they've got some sort of protection. But in general, day driving, I'll probably leave them off because I just generally drive at night off and on road. It saves me getting them out. But guys, fantastic little kit. Definitely worth the money, I reckon, just from other people I've seen use them and drive them. That's why I went with the Stedi, and a lot of my stuff when it comes to lighting has been slowly going towards Stedi. And yeah, 100% guys, we'll go out tonight, have a bit of a shoot, see how well they work at night, tonight, and we'll go from there, and I'll just adjust a little bits and tilts. Other than that guys, I'm pretty happy so far. Thanks for watching. Todd from Ongoing Adventures. Let's get cracking. I'll see you guys out there somewhere. And just like that, another episode of Ongoing Adventures is done. Thanks for watching, and don't forget to like, subscribe, and share to all your friends and family. And I'll catch you on the next one.